telling my mom she can't share a room or a bed with her boyfriend in my home? When I, 27F, was in college, I met my boyfriend and we moved in together, sharing a place with some friends after dating for a year. I was 19 when we met, and 20 when we moved in together. We decided from that point onward to take turns spending Christmas with our families. But the first year we were supposed to see mine, my mom made it clear my boyfriend could not stay, and we weren't sharing a room or a bed in her house. My dad argued in favor of letting it happen since I was an adult and living with him already, but mom said no. She hated that I wouldn't stay at their house then, and instead booked an Airbnb. She said I should respect the rules of her house, and I told her I was, but I didn't want to tell my boyfriend to be alone on the holidays, and especially when his family had welcomed us together happily. After that, I made it clear there would be no coming to visit like that if I couldn't sleep with my boyfriend. My mom said it wasn't like we were married, so she had every right to that rule. 2 years ago, my dad died, and for 11 months, my mom has been in a relationship with her boyfriend. They don't live together exactly, but according to my brother, he was there most nights while he was still there. My mom and brother aren't really talking right now. My brother could hear mom and her boyfriend in bed and he hated it, so he moved out. He's also 22 and had wanted to, but it gave him the push to move. My mom was furious and demanded to know why he was leaving out of nowhere, and she freaked when my brother told her he was tired of hearing them. It started mom off on him not being happy for her that she found someone again after dad died. My mom seems to be missing my brother being around, and she told me she misses having her kids around her, so she wanted to visit for a week or two soon. She wanted to bring her boyfriend along, and I told her she can't share a room or a bed with him in my home. I told her I do not want to hear that. She got mad at me and said she's a grown woman and should be allowed her freedom. I told her she was all right denying it to me and I wasn't even planning to have sex in her house. But it sounded like she doesn't care if we hear or not and I'm not dealing with it. I also told her I wasn't going to reward her with sharing with her boyfriend when she has been so strict with me about it. My mom accused me of acting like a petty child. Next story, telling my ex's wife to mind her own fucking business when she confronted me in public over my ex's mom giving me a gift for my 30th birthday. I, 30F, celebrated my birthday recently, and my ex's mom stopped by to give me a very nice birthday gift. Ex and I have been divorced for 6 years, but we have 2 kids together aged 11 and 9, so it was unexpected. I got along really well with his family when we were together, and we're still friendly when we see each other, but we were never close. When ex's mom showed up with the gift, she explained she wished we'd stayed in touch more and she wanted to honor the mother of her grandchildren and she wanted to show appreciation for all I've done. It was sweet, and we spoke for a little while. The gift was sentimental in nature, which made extra special to me. It was a lovely gesture and I never expected it to cause any trouble, but it did with my ex's wife. She confronted me in Target a week ago and started cursing and yelling at me for intruding in my ex's family. She told me the only reason ex's mom would get me a gift is because I'm trying to keep my claws in ex's family instead of accepting I'm an ex. She demanded I give the gift to her or return it to ex's mom and refused to accept anything in the future. I told her to leave me alone and I walked away. She approached me again as I was heading to pay. I tried to go around her, but she put her hand on the cart and told me I wasn't walking away from her again, and I would stop being so meddlesome and stop trying to push her out of her family. She told me I was nasty accepting a gift from ex's mom and I had no business allowing something like that. I interrupted her when she started to attract some attention, and I told her to mind her own fucking business and stay away from me because we have no reason to talk. I paid for my stuff and left before she could confront me again. The encounter pissed me off, but I was going to let it go. Then ex started texting me later in the week and he told me I needed to apologize to his wife because she's the stepmom to our kids and I shouldn't be treating her that way. I replied that I did not appreciate her behavior toward me in public, and I would not be replying further. He told me I just needed to apologize, and I was out of order treating her like she was wrong to have her own feelings on this. He said I had damaged the co-parenting relationship between myself and them. I know I could have ignored her, but I know apologizing won't fix anything because I still have and wear the gift, which was a mother charm bracelet. Ex's wife will insist I need to return or dispose of it to let this go. And I don't think I'm wrong for accepting it. I can accept I may have been wrong for speaking to her that way, though. Next story. My partner, 22, makes sarcastic comments about 23F, my tattoo, then gets angry when I get upset. So, I recently got a tattoo this year, and no one really knows about it, but like 5 people, my 2 best friend, the artist, another friend, and my boyfriend. I've always wanted a tattoo and saved up for one, booked an appointment with the artist a month prior to getting it. I told my boyfriend as soon as my appointment was set, and he was quiet. I told him that this is what I really wanted and practically begged him to let me. Told him this is the one thing I must absolutely do at least once in my life. He doesn't allow me to drink or smoke or vape. And he said, okay. I know he wasn't on board with it, but I still got it. He told me as long as I send him videos and he's the first to see my tattoo. He comments about how he hated how close the artist was to my body, doesn't like that it's a man, etc. Anyways, I have a strict family. My friends and him are aware of this. So I got it in secret and I'm super happy with it. My bestie is super supportive. And even though she doesn't exactly want me hiding things from my family, she lets me be and just supports me. My boyfriend, on the other hand, makes super sarcastic comments on my tattoo and keeps poking fun at the fact I have to hide my tattoo. He laughs at me and also speaks really loudly, always asking about, how is your tattoo? How is it healing? When my family is around, I get upset and stop talking to him, give him the silent treatment, and he yells at me saying he's just fucking joking and that I should stop being so sensitive. I've tried telling him that it actually kinda hurts when he acts this way, especially since I trusted him enough to let him in on my secret, and he just rolls his eyes. We usually play fight all the time, physically and verbally, but since getting the tattoo, he's been extra physical. He throws me down on the side my tattoo is on, or he will shoulder charge me into the wall. This is how we play fight normally. But when I remind him I have a tattoo and he needs to be careful, he rolls his eyes and tells me I shouldn't have gotten it in the first place. I got so mad at him, I yelled at him that he has no respect for me, and he just called me dramatic and went to sleep. I tried setting boundaries, which I think he forgets. But nothing changed, so I push him off me now, and I haven't spoken to him for a while, and he sent messages that make me feel like I'm an asshole. He doesn't hate tattoos, and he definitely wants tattoos himself. He wants a whole sleeve and chest piece, which I don't mind. I definitely will chip in if that's what he wants. But talking about my feelings to him doesn't help. What do I do? I don't really want to break up. We've been together for 3 years. He's my first real and serious relationship. He is loving and we help each other, but I do feel like getting this tattoo ruined our relationship. Did I make a mistake? Next story. My wife is mad that I met the grocery delivery at the lobby instead of letting them come up to us. My wife is against tipping under any circumstances. Aside from sitting down in a restaurant, then she'd be okay with tipping 10-15%. We're in a HQL city in the US and do all right financially. I work and she doesn't, but she is like my secretary, helping me with admin stuff like scheduling, finding stuff online, and making calls. I hate making calls. But I do all our cooking or taking out. Today we had a huge grocery delivery order. I feel bad for making the delivery person spend so much time if we're not going to tip him. So I waited 20 minutes at the lobby for him while doing something, not just wasting time, on my phone, and met him at the lobby, then loaded everything into a trolley owned by the apartment and brought it up myself. My wife is mad at me for wasting time on that when he could have come up on his own. I don't think it's right to make him spend so much time on our order if we're not going to tip him. In the past, she has gotten mad at me for tipping delivery drivers, so I thought she would be less mad if I did this instead. But it didn't seem to make a difference. Eta for not wanting to exploit people? Bonus. Eta. She said the groceries will be delivered up with no tip in future. I asked her which would upset her more, tipping and having them come up or not. Tipping and meeting them at the lobby? She said, forward it to you for making an ultimatum. Ita for asking that question? Edit. This is actually a secondary account that I stopped using for more than a year at one point. During that time, it was hacked and used by the person who posted that OF link. I removed all their posts when I started using this account again, but didn't see the link until today. I don't use our specific ages in my posts for privacy reasons, but some subs force me to put an age, so I picked an approximate age within the age range we're in. It's not a gig worker app. It's one of the big companies that pay their delivery drivers a somewhat reasonable hourly wage, I Googled. But I still feel obligated to tip because I'm a bleeding heart liberal. Next story. Telling my sister not to bother coming to my wedding? I, 24M, excluded my sister, 28F, from my wedding, but not my other sister, 26F, and upset my entire family. I am getting married to a really wonderful man we'll call Max, 26 this summer, but my sister will not be in my wedding party. Here's why. I have two sisters, Macy and Penny. We grew up close, but with no brothers, I felt excluded. My sisters would go on girls' trips, and I wasn't invited. My father isn't in the picture, so mostly Mom would leave me with Grandma. Sisters and brothers are different. Penny and Macy fight, but they always make up. Penny is a lesbian, and as a gay man, we've bonded more as adults. Overall, I love both my sisters, even if the relationships are painful. About 7 years ago, Macy married her fiancé Michael. Penny was her maid of honor, and Michael asked me to be a groomsman. Her wedding party included our female cousin, but also Penny's partner Joanne, 26F. Max and I were together, but he was not in the wedding. I barely knew Michael, and all his groomsmen were strangers. I told my sister that I would rather support her on her wedding day, but she said that isn't the way things are done. She was right, but I saw no reason why it needed to be gendered. I should have stood with my family. She was the bride, so I didn't bother her about it again. I was excluded from everything leading up to the wedding. I missed the bridal parties, dress selection, and bachelorette activities, not to mention the fact that day I had to leave my house and get ready at her fiancé's hotel because she didn't want any men around while she was getting ready. 2 years later, Penny married Joanne. Of course, Macy was the maid of honor, but I also got to be a bridesman and was with her every step of the way. Partners were excluded on both sides. Before the wedding, Macy kept making snide remarks about how I didn't belong there. There were no bachelor parties, but I think Macy thought without a groom, men shouldn't be in the wedding. I was invited to Penny's bachelorette party, much to Macy's chagrin. Now Max and I are marrying, and we weren't going to have a wedding party, but Max insisted because he's close to his brother Marshall. When I made Penny my maid of honor, Macy was offended. When I told her that she was going to stand with Max and Marshall because my best friend Cole is going to be in it, she was furious. Macy said she needed to be there for her baby brother's big day and felt slighted. I told her that if I had to stand with strangers, she had to. Besides, we needed even numbers. My mother took her side when she complained, and even my grandmother called me spiteful. Angry, I shouted that if Macy had a problem, she needn't come. Should I relent and let her stand with me? I feel like this is a total double standard because when Macy was married, the answer was, it's her wedding. Next story. Getting dressed immediately after I wake up and shoveling snow. We have the day off from work and it snowed overnight. My wife got up 2 hours before me and is outside shoveling the 5 inches of snow we got last night. She's pissed off at me because I won't immediately get dressed and run out there and shovel with her, claiming I'm leaving it all for her to do. My wife wants everything to be on her schedule. She wants to shovel now, so I need to get dressed and shovel with her when she wants to do it. We don't have to go anywhere. We have no work. Am I the asshole for wanting to have a cup of coffee first before going out to shovel? Update for extra info. I got up at 8:15 a.m. by 9:15 a.m. I was starting up the snowblower. By 10 a.m. it was done. All of it. Driveway, walks, and garbage area. I also cleared a big spot in the yard for the dogs. I usually do this. The thing is, and she knows this, she didn't even have to get out of her pajamas. I would have done it. All by myself. The amount of work she put in was unnecessary. The snowblower makes the job nice and easy, and she is afraid to use it, so that's why she didn't use it. Bottom line, it's 19 degrees out. No school, no mail delivery, no trash pickup, and we are not awaiting any deliveries from Amazon, FedEx, or UPS. We have a running joke around here about how the prince gets treated better than the king. I'm gonna have a talk with her later about making my grandson contribute more when it comes to things like this. Wish me luck because it's not gonna go well, I think. Next story. Telling my wife to stop playing Roblox and do her duties as a parent, my 37F. Wife and I, 36 me, have always tried to keep the housework pretty evenly split between us. I, for example, mow the lawn and do laundry and dishes, and she meal plans, cooks, and picks up drops off the kids. Lately, this has all changed because she has become addicted to a game called Dress to Impress on Roblox. If you aren't familiar, it's a game where you have to dress your character in a themed outfit before the time runs out, and the other players rate it from 1 to 5 stars. It started off harmless, just a fun thing she would do during downtime before bed, but recently she has missed crucial appointments and chores because of this game. I tried to be understanding and gently remind her to do her tasks, but she would always say she forgot or got distracted. The big argument happened last night when she forgot to pick up our 9-year-old son from basketball practice, which ended at 6 cows. I hadn't gotten home yet as I had to work late, and our son doesn't have a phone, so I had no way of knowing the situation. I eventually got home around 7 and realized he was not in his room. I looked around further and saw that he was nowhere to be found. I walked into our bedroom, confused, to ask my wife where he was and found her on her iPad playing the game, as always. When I asked her where our son was, her eyes grew wide and I knew what happened without her having to say. I immediately got back into my car and went to pick him up. Luckily, his coach had stayed after to make sure he was picked up safe, and I apologized profusely. Apparently, he had been calling and texting my wife, who was the emergency contact, and she didn't even notice. When we got home, I immediately blew up at her. How could she be so addicted to a kid's game that she completely forgot our son? Now she's telling me it was a one-time thing and that I'm an asshole for getting angry. I don't know what to think. I do kind of understand her side of the story as it has only happened one time. But she has to be a responsible parent. She can't just completely forget about our child who has no way to get home on his own. So, Eta,